Welcome to the channel. Whether you're planning to move to the Philippines or already call it home, this video is packed with honest insights you won't want to miss. I'm sharing some of the toughest lessons I've learned as an expat, the hidden risks that can catch you off guard so you can stay safe and thrive. Let's dive in. Now, most people picture paradise when they think of the Philippines, and it can be, but what a lot of guys don't see coming are the hidden traps that slowly chip away at you. The first one? It doesn't come with flashing warnings or big headlines. It starts quietly with your health. One of the most underestimated dangers expats face in the Philippines isn't crime, scams, or money problems. It's their own health. It's the slow decline you don't notice until it's too late. And for a lot of guys who move here, especially those who come for the freedom and the lifestyle, that decline begins almost the moment they unpack. It usually starts harmlessly enough. The beaches are calling. The cost of living is low and the atmosphere is relaxed. People are friendly and the social invitations come pouring in. Birthdays, fiestas, karaoke nights, casual drinks with the neighbors. And in many parts of the Philippines, socializing almost always means drinking. Saying no too often can make you seem standoffish. Saying yes too often can quietly chip away at your health before you even realize it. The drinking culture here is real. Not in an aggressive way, but in a way that's ever present. You might not intend to drink often, but when alcohol is part of every event and you're constantly being offered a shot or a cold beer, your discipline needs to be rock solid. And if it's not, you're in for trouble, the kind that doesn't always show up right away. Add to that the temptation of cheap, delicious, and often greasy street food. It's hard to resist when you're surrounded by sizzling skewers and fried snacks for $1 or less. It becomes easy to let go of healthy routines, skipping workouts, eating fast food daily, sleeping late. You're not on vacation anymore, but your habits might still be stuck in vacation mode. Now imagine this. You're living in a quiet province, hours away from a major city. You start experiencing tightness in your chest. It could be indigestion, or it could be the early signs of a heart attack. You go to the local clinic, only to find out they lack the proper equipment to diagnose you. You need to travel over an hour or more to a hospital that can actually run the necessary tests. By the time you get there, the window for treatment may have already closed. That's not a rare scenario. There are stories, too many honestly, of expats who didn't take these risks seriously. Some ignored their bodies until it was too late. Others waited on ambulances that took too long to arrive or arrived at clinics that couldn't help them. In provinces, emergency response can be delayed by distance, traffic, or even weather. When minutes matter, that delay can be fatal. And this isn't just about dramatic emergencies. It's about the daily wear and tear. High blood pressure, diabetes, liver problems, they creep in quietly, especially when alcohol is involved. And unless you're regularly seeing a doctor who actually monitors these things, you may not catch it early. There's also the misconception that healthcare in the Philippines is always cheap. While some services are affordable, quality care, the kind you trust your life with, often isn't. Private hospitals in cities like Manila or Cebu can be excellent, but they're not free. Without insurance, a hospital stay can wipe out your savings. And in the provinces, good healthcare is even harder to find. So what's the takeaway? Before moving here, get a full health checkup. Understand your own body and any conditions you may already have. Once you arrive, commit to a routine, regular exercise, healthy food choices, and moderation when it comes to drinking. Treat your health like your most important investment, because it is. And don't rely on hope. Get real health insurance, not some flimsy local plan that barely covers anything. Real international or expat-focused insurance that you can count on when things go wrong. Living in the Philippines can be a dream, but dreams come with responsibilities. You have to take care of yourself, because no one else will. And in this environment, neglect doesn't punish you right away. It waits. It hides behind the good times, the cold beers, and the relaxed afternoons. But when it shows up, it can hit hard and fast. The Philippines offers freedom. But freedom without discipline? That's not living, that's gambling. And when it comes to your health, the odds don't always play fair. Taking care of your health is one thing, but what happens when danger comes at you fast, out on the open road? That's where the next risk shows up, and it's one a lot of guys overlook until it's too late. There's a reason seasoned expats give the side eye when someone brags about buying a motorbike in the Philippines. Not because it's a bad idea in itself, it's just that it's one of those decisions that can go sideways fast if you're not thinking a few moves ahead. In rural areas, especially in the provinces, motorbikes are everywhere. They're cheap, convenient, and give you a sense of freedom that's hard to beat. You'll see kids riding them, families squeezed onto one bike, even deliveries stacked 10 feet high weaving through tight roads. It's part of the local culture, and for foreigners trying to blend in or explore more freely, the temptation is real. But here's what most people don't think about. Motorbikes aren't just a way to get around, they're also one of the leading causes of injury and death among expats and locals alike. And the danger doesn't always come from reckless riding. Sometimes it's just bad luck combined with bad infrastructure. Potholes, loose gravel, no streetlights, stray dogs darting out at night, overloaded tricycles turning without warning. It's easy to underestimate how quickly things can go wrong. One sharp turn on wet pavement, one blind corner, or one unexpected obstacle, and you're on the ground, or worse, under someone else's wheels. And if that crash happens in a remote area, the next phase of your day could be a long wait for help that may never come fast enough. That's the part nobody talks about, the aftermath. Rural clinics often lack proper trauma care. You might be hours away from a hospital that can handle serious injuries, and even then, the quality of care can vary wildly. In critical situations, that delay isn't just inconvenient, it can be deadly. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a reality that plays out more often than you'd expect. You'll hear stories of foreigners who laid in pain for hours before getting proper care, or locals who never recovered because they couldn't afford the right surgery. And sadly, there are too many stories of foreigners who left the country not on a plane seat but in a coffin, simply because they made one small mistake on the road. And it's not always high-speed crashes. Sometimes it's a drunk ride home after a few beers at a beach bar, or a night ride on an unfamiliar road with no lights and no helmet. People let their guard down in paradise. That's the real danger. So if you're thinking of riding, think long-term. Wear the helmet every single time. Not the flimsy, decorative kind either. Get proper safety gear. Bright colors. Reflectors. Protective clothing. Treat your body like you might want to keep using it. Avoid riding at night unless absolutely necessary. That's when visibility drops, dogs wander freely, and people drive unpredictably. And if alcohol is involved? Take a trike, call a friend, walk if you have to, just don't get back on the bike. The bottom line is this. Motorbikes can be a fantastic tool for exploring the Philippines, but they come with serious risks, not always from how you ride, but from everything around you. It's not about fear. It's about respect. Respect for the machine, the roads, and the reality of what could happen when paradise turns to chaos in a matter of seconds. If you can't ride defensively, don't ride at all. Because out here, the road doesn't give second chances. Staying safe on the roads is one thing, but the risks don't stop when you park the bike. Sometimes the real danger is sitting across the table from you, smiling, shaking your hand, and calling you partner. That's where the next trap often lies, not in speed or recklessness, but in misplaced trust. One of the fastest ways to lose everything in the Philippines is by getting involved in the wrong business deal. And unfortunately, I've seen it happen more times than I care to count. Not always from scams or theft, though that does happen, but often from blind optimism, misplaced trust, and jumping in without really understanding how things work here. The business environment in the Philippines isn't like what many foreigners are used to. Things don't move quickly or cleanly. Regulations can be vague, enforcement inconsistent, and partnerships, especially with locals, often run on informal arrangements that sound good in conversation but fall apart when money's on the line. It's a culture where relationships matter more than contracts, and that can be a blessing or a curse depending on who you're dealing with. I've watched guys sink their savings into bars, cafes, resorts, rental properties, all convinced they found the next big opportunity. They saw the cheap land, the growing tourism, the smiling faces, and thought, why not me? But what many didn't realize is that owning a business here, as a foreigner, puts you at a disadvantage from the start. You can't legally own land, and you can't hold majority ownership in many companies unless you jump through legal hoops or rely on a local partner. And that partner? You better trust them with your life, and even then have backup plans in case trust runs out. I've seen foreigners lose everything because their trusted partner suddenly stopped answering calls. I've seen land disputes where the foreigner paid in full but had no legal claim when things got messy. I've seen foreign-owned businesses burned to the ground, not metaphorically but literally, after things soured. And what's worse, I've heard stories where things didn't just end with a lost investment. In some cases, they ended in threats, or worse. It doesn't matter how careful you are. The moment you put a large amount of money into a system where you don't fully understand the rules or the power dynamics, you're at risk. And in the Philippines, that risk is amplified by the fact that you're a foreigner. You're an outsider in every sense, culturally, legally, and socially. When things go wrong, you may not have many places to turn for help. Now, that's not to say every business fails. Some guys make it work, especially those who think small, focus on cash flow, and keep their structure lean. I've seen modest food stalls succeed where upscale restaurants fail. I've seen rental units do well when managed smartly. But the key word is modest. Humility, patience, and detailed local knowledge matter more than ambition here. If you absolutely must invest, here's the hard advice. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Treat it like a gamble, not a guarantee. Build relationships slowly. Watch how your partners operate when no one's looking. Always structure deals so that money flows monthly, not all up front. If you hand over a lump sum, you give up leverage. Monthly structures create mutual interest in the business surviving, not just in cashing you out. And please avoid the fantasy that you're going to fix things here or revolutionize an industry. The Philippines doesn't need saving. What it needs is respect. Respect for the way things work, even if they seem inefficient. Respect for the people, even if their pace is slower. Respect for the fact that you're playing on someone else's home field, and the rules can change without notice. The smartest move you can make in the Philippines isn't starting a business, it's protecting the life you've built. Live well, live simply, and if you're looking for fulfillment, try helping a neighbor or sponsoring a kid's education before trying to build the next beachfront empire. Because when a deal goes bad here, it doesn't just hurt your wallet. It can ruin your reputation, your peace of mind, and in extreme cases, even your safety. Be wise enough to know that not every opportunity is worth chasing. Sometimes the best decision is walking away before you even start. But even if you manage to navigate business deals carefully, there's a quieter danger that can undermine everything you've worked for, your reputation within the community. There's a kind of invisible currency you carry around as a foreigner in the Philippines, and it's not dollars or pesos. It's your reputation. And the value of that reputation is determined not by what you say, but by what you do when no one's looking, and especially when they are. Most expats underestimate just how closely they're being observed, especially in smaller towns and provinces. Locals notice more than you think. They see who you greet, how you treat others, how you behave in public. They remember if you tip fairly, if you lose your temper, or if you ignore people who try to talk to you. And whether you like it or not, your actions start forming a story, one that spreads faster than you might expect. I've seen it play out more than once. A new foreigner moves into a community and keeps to himself. He thinks he's just minding his own business, but people start to wonder, why doesn't he say hello? Why does he walk past everyone without smiling? Why is he always alone? That quiet isolation often gets misread as arrogance or disrespect. Over time, the neighborhood forms its own story about who this guy is, and it's rarely flattering. And once your reputation goes south in a small Filipino community, it's tough to recover. People may still smile at you, but behind those smiles could be suspicion or judgment. You might find that you're no longer welcomed as warmly, service feels colder, and opportunities to connect seem to vanish. It doesn't take a scandal to ruin your name. Sometimes it just takes being absent or disengaged. But it works the other way too. When you make the effort to genuinely connect with people, to say good morning, to buy from local vendors, to be patient in crowded stores, to learn just a few phrases in the local language, it changes everything. You become more than a face. You become part of the community. People start to look out for you, include you, and speak well of you, even when you're not around. I've watched foreigners build strong reputations just by showing up consistently with a good attitude. One guy I knew wasn't particularly flashy or wealthy, but he made it a point to buy snacks from the local Sari store every day and chat with the owner. Over time, everyone on that street knew his name, and if there was ever trouble, someone always had his back. Respect here is earned slowly and lost quickly. You don't need to win over everyone, but you do need to show that you respect the culture, the people, and the pace of life. Filipinos are warm and generous by nature, but they also value humility and kindness. If you treat people like they matter, your reputation will grow strong on its own. The danger isn't just in being disliked. The real risk is becoming isolated, socially, emotionally, even practically. If your name carries the wrong weight, you could find yourself cut off from support when you need it most. It might mean getting overcharged, struggling to find trustworthy help, or simply being left out of opportunities you never knew existed. So if you're planning to live in the Philippines, whether short-term or for the rest of your life, protect your reputation like it's part of your survival. Because in a way, it is. In this country, word of mouth is everything. And the story they tell about you? You're writing it every day, whether you realize it or not. Maintaining a good reputation takes effort, but even then, the emotional toll of adapting to a new culture and lifestyle can wear you down in ways you don't always expect. That's where emotional burnout quietly creeps in. This last danger might just be the most insidious of all, the one that creeps in quietly when everything on the surface looks fine. Living abroad can feel like a dream come true, but beneath that dream lies a reality many don't talk about: loneliness, emotional exhaustion, and the weight of expectations that can slowly wear you down. Imagine being the go-to person for everyone's problems, friends, family, your partner's relatives, and feeling like no one is really there for you. Or being in a relationship where you're valued more for your money than your heart. Over time, that kind of pressure breaks people. Strong, capable men who once seemed unshakable suddenly stop answering calls, stop showing up, and shut down inside. It's not always clinical depression. Often it's sheer burnout. The kind that comes from giving too much, carrying too many burdens alone, and feeling utterly misunderstood. You might not see it coming, but the signs are there: withdrawing from social circles, losing interest in things you once loved, or just feeling completely worn out. It can happen to anyone, no matter how tough you think you are. It's crucial to recognize this danger early. When life piles up, expired visas, family emergencies, failed ventures, health issues, it can feel like the walls are closing in. And when you're far from home, sometimes it feels like there's nowhere to turn. So what's the solution? Boundaries. Healthy boundaries are your lifeline. Learn to say no when you're stretched too thin. Prioritize yourself without guilt. Build a support system that goes beyond just the people around you. Seek out expat groups where others understand the unique struggles of living abroad. Keep in touch with family and friends back home who remind you who you are beyond your struggles. Find grounding practices, whether that's journaling, meditation, prayer, or simply carving out quiet time for yourself. Mental health is just as important as physical health, and ignoring it can turn a paradise into a prison. Remember, no matter how beautiful the beach, if your mind feels trapped, nothing else truly matters. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. If you found this helpful, please hit subscribe. There's more real talk coming your way to help you navigate life here with wisdom and strength.